So if you're anything like me, when you got your first car, you wanted it to be as fast as possible. That meant taking out the AC, sound editing, interior, radio, headlights, all just to make your Honda Civic the tiniest bit faster. In my case, it was a Toyota MR2, but this could be for a Mustang or any other first car that you got. And for a while there, you were happy with it. It was fast and raw. Then a couple years fly by. You were working one day and you hurt your back. Now every time you get into that racing seat that you thought you wouldn't mind because you were young and you had a good back, now destroys your back, and it takes a couple days to recover after just driving around the block. That AC that you thought you didn't need now sounds awfully good, and you're thinking it's about time to put this back in after someone called 911 on your ass because you fainted in your race car. And lastly, your vision's getting so bad that you can't even see a damn thing during the day, so you're definitely thinking about putting those headlights back on and upgrading to the blind everybody else 3000s. Now obviously I'm exaggerating because I'm not that old, I don't think you are that either. But at the same time, as you get into your 20s, you think, man, I kind of want that luxurious car that I promised I'd never want. But what are you gonna do? Sell your race car that you put so much time and effort into and you still love because it was your first car? Well, not really. I've got the solution for you, and it's pretty easy. Keep your race car, save up $5 grand, and buy a cheap luxury enthusiast car for daily driving, and then you can drive your back-breaking race car on the weekends. In this video, we're going to be going over 5 luxury enthusiast cars that I know you guys will love because they're cheap, luxurious, and they look good. And a little bonus tip here. If you're taking a girl on a date, I know you think she's gonna like that race car, but she ain't. So if you're having trouble with securing a second date, that might be the sign to get yourself a $5,000 luxury car. The first car on this list I know pretty well because one of my old friends used to have one, and that is the C300 W204 from 2008 to 2014. This bad boy came with a 3-liter V6, and you can get this in all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Me, if I'm going for a luxury car, might as well go all-wheel drive, just so you can have a more pleasant drive in the snow or the rain and have that luxurious experience of just not really caring how you drive. Because most likely you're not going to be doing any drifting in this car or racing because, again, you bought this car as a second car to your race car, so this car should be just a daily driver. The engine made 228 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque, which isn't bad. Now, they also have the C200, C250, C350, and then the C63 AMG trims, but the thing is, all of those are either under 5,000 or over 5,000. But the C300 is in that perfect spot where it's just around $5,000, and you can get one in really good condition with miles ranging from 80,000 to like 120,000 for $5,000. Not only that, but if you're looking at the 200 series versus the 300 series, the 300 series is the most reliable. Even though you might save money on gas driving daily with the C200, C250, those engines, no good. They have a lot of problems, and the C300 and C350 have less. My friend had a C250, and he had to get rid of it after just a couple years of owning it. At 80,000 miles, he broke down on the side of the road. The mechanic he took it to said the engine was blown. I don't know if that's true or not, because you know, some mechanics are a little shady. But that was not the only problem. One day, me and him and a couple other people were at Six Flags. We were getting ready. I was getting my gear out of the trunk, and after I was done grabbing everything, I just closed the trunk like I normally do on any of my Toyotas. Now, what do you expect to happen? Oh, you just closed the trunk, went into Six Flags, had a fun day. No, that's not what happened. We had a big old fiasco because as soon as I closed that trunk, the Christmas tree on the dash lit up and the taillights wouldn't work anymore, and I was so confused. He asked me how I closed it. Did I slam it? No. 100-pound me back in the day did not slam this thing unless I have a superhuman strength that I don't know of. I just closed it like anybody else would. But that was enough to set him back $2,000 because for some reason his mechanic said a whole bunch of stuff broke when I did that. Now again, the mechanic kind of seems a little shady because he was the one that also bought the car too after the engine was blown, so kind of seems like he was just raking in money from them. So hopefully this doesn't happen to you when you buy a C300, but the reason why I tell you this story is because the engine in these cars supposedly lasts up to 200,000 miles if regular maintenance is done with no major repairs, and so as a transmission supposedly. But you got to remember, this is a Mercedes and there's a lot of technology in the car, so expect that technology technology to brake. Another thing that broke in the C250 was the tilt column steering thing that moves your steering wheel around. That broke and cost them a lot of money too. So although the price of the car is cheap, the engine is reliable, the transmission is somewhat reliable, have some money on the side for this car for when electronics go bad, because they will go bad and they will cost a lot of money because it's Mercedes. But to end things off on a good note, I love the design of this car. I think it even looks better than the new ones. It's just a gorgeous Mercedes design that I think will look good for a long time to come. Here we have one for sale. This is a 2008 C300 for $4,700, listed a week ago. So this guy is willing to take $4 grand right off the bat. And you're thinking, man, what can I buy for $4 grand? A carton of eggs or a Mercedes C300? It's 2008. This was pushing almost 20 years now. And the leather has no cracks. Everything looks really nice. The dash looks nice, the steering wheel looks nice. I think it has a cover on it, so I don't know if it actually looks nice. But I mean, for $4 grand, if you're, say you pay full price, $4,700, that's a pretty nice interior. The exterior looks even better. I love that this car has the hood ornament. I love when cars do this. I don't know why they don't do it anymore. Probably because of some stupid law, but I loved the early D250 Ram hood ornament. Mercedes one is nice too. The exterior is really nice. I don't see any major dents or major scratches, but there's probably a couple small ones there. And what does the description say? It says his wife is a second owner. He spent $2,500 on the car recently just to get the AC new, so this thing better be blowing super cold. And he says it has no mechanical issues. So if what he's saying is true, I mean, this is a deal for $4,700. You get it for $4,000. Lay off the carton eggs for a week and you'll have this bad boy in your garage. And this will be a pretty sweet daily driver. For the second car on this list, we have the second gen Cadillac CTS, also made from 2008 to 2014. So this is a direct competitor to the Mercedes C300 we talked about just a few seconds ago. This one doesn't have any numbers after the name of CTS. So the second gen CTS came with multiple motors, one of them being a 3.0 and one of them being a 3.6. Both of them have problems. The 3.6 has timing chain issues on the earlier ones. So if I was going to be looking for one of these, I'd be looking for 2012 to 2014 because they seem to have fixed it by then. Not completely, but seem to fix most of the issues unless people are complaining about the issues. You want to keep up with your maintenance on these cars because if you don't, issues. If you do keep up with these cars, possibly issues. But for $5 grand, it looks nice. The car's interior is really nice. And if you get one that's maintained, it should last for a little bit at least. These things came with 263 to 318 horsepower and 223 to 273 pound-feet of torque, depending if you got the 3.0 or the 3.6. So that is what's compelling about these cars over the C300. You get more horsepower, but in return you get more problems. It's also a different look because the C300 is more round, while the CTS is like a big sharp box with a bunch of angular stuff. These were also offered in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, just like the C300. The only issue is that the all-wheel drive systems on these cars have issues. So I would recommend just getting a rear-wheel drive version of these, and you should be decently good, like I said, if the car was maintained. Now, I like GM, I like Chevys. I think they make great V8s, but I just don't think they make good V6s, 4 cylinders, or anything else except a V8. And that's why the CTS V is the one that I would pick, because those things are reliable. The only issue is they don't cost $5 grand, they cost 20 grand. And another reason to pick these cars over a C300 is because the C300 had a wagon variant, but it was not sold in the US. You can get the CTS wagon here in the States for around $5,000 too. So it comes in a coupe, it comes in a sedan, and it also comes in a wagon version. All of these you can find for around $5,000. Here we have a 2012 3.6 liter CTS for $6,500, listed 19 weeks ago. And I made sure to look for a listing with the reliable years between 2012 to 2014. This guy right here says he will not take less than $6,500. He already reduced the price from $9,000 to $6,500. I don't know why it's not showing on the computer, but it's showing on my phone. This guy will take $5 grand. It's listed 19 weeks ago. He's just trying to play Mr. Tough Guy here, but this price hasn't been selling. If someone comes to him with $5 grand, he's taking it. Now I gotta say, I do love this car because it has that light blue. This color does not work for a man driving a convertible, but it does work for a man driving a CTS because it's boxy and that masculinizes the light blue, if that's a word. I love the color. It looks like it's in good condition, except I don't know if that's a shadow right there, but there might be something right there. And from what he said in the description, Car runs and drives great, low miles, no mechanical issues. A couple things need to be done, like a alignment. It needs a new set of tires soon, and this is why the price is lower than normal. I call BS. The price is higher than normal, and with it needing new tires and an alignment, this is a $5,000 car all day. When you see stuff like this, don't get discouraged. Still message him with a low ball, because sometimes they take it. I know from experience. One of the other issues with these cars is a sunroof leaking, so if you get this car, make sure to fix that. But the interior looks really nice. 91,000 miles for a $5,000 car. I mean, it just can't get better than that. The seats are cracked. You definitely want to get some better seat covers than that. That looks like absolute poopy. For the third car on this list, we have one of my dream cars, but not the spec that I want, the Buick Roadmaster. These either came as a sedan or a wagon, so pick your choice. They're both around $5,000. You just can't pick the choice of having the LT1, which is the Corvette motor, in this car, because those cost more than $5,000. The ones we're able to afford have the LO5 5.7 liter V8. These make 180 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque, while the one we can't afford, just so that we can dream, has 260 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque. Now you know why it costs more than $5,000, because they have a Corvette motor in it, they can tow, they're cool, but it's not all bad, because the LO5 is more reliable than the LT1 and costs less to repair, which is perfect for people on a budget. They even have a rear-facing third row, which is super cool. I've always wanted to sit in one of those, but I have not had the chance yet because nobody around me owns this sweet piece of history. But the Buick Roadmaster was made from 1991 and 1996. No, I'm not talking about the 50s version. Come on now, guys. And was reliable, rear-wheel drive, and had a ton of space. Here we have a 1992 Buick Roadmaster sedan. I probably like the wagon version more, but the sedan is also an amazing car. I mean, even though it's a sedan, it has so much room inside and in the trunk. It's just crazy. This car is 131,000 miles, and it has the beautiful red interior. Where is it? Boom, there it is. Blood red interior throughout the whole entire car. Not to mention, it's also got the wheel covers too. I love these, and I don't know why they don't do it anymore. I also love the rear taillights on the sedans. They just look so sleek. Everything about this car is sleek. Now, you might be mistaken for an 80-year-old driving it, but at the same time, there is no better seat to sit in than a Buick Roadmaster seat or a Lincoln seat from like the 90s to 2000s. These things felt like couches in cars. You have the column shifter, bench seat in the front. You can sit 3 people in the front, 3 people in the back in a sedan that's wide enough to fit them comfortably. It's just so nice. It's got nice limited trim. I don't know what that is, but it's cool. And just look at the rear seat. Wouldn't you love to sit on that seat? I know I would. I would probably sing it to it and never get up. Everything in this car looks pretty good. He says it's a one owner except for him. I don't know if it's a flip or if it's maybe his grandmother's, but it just looks like a deal for $4,500. Listed 3 weeks ago. Get there, offer them $3,750. Have that $1,250 for repairs if there's any that needs to be done, and you have yourself a sweet luxury daily driver for the week. If I were to rate the ones that we've already gone over, I would go Buick Roadmaster C300, Cadillac CTS. But you know what's better than all 3 of those options? The Lexus LS430, made from 2001 to 2006. This came with a 4.3 liter V8, also known as a 3UZ. The predecessor to this model, the LS400, came with a 1UZ. This was a little modified and more modern, and it came with 290 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque, which are better numbers than the base model CTS, better than the C300, and better than the Buick Roadmaster. Not only that, but this is the most reliable car on this list. It's also rear-wheel drive, has a plush interior, and depending on how the car you buy was optioned, it could have a built-in fridge/wine cooler. These cars are awesome, and it's the best luxury car for under $5,000 you can buy right now. Here is one for sale. This is a 2002 Lexus LS430. It has 150,000 miles, and you might be thinking, wow, that's kind of a lot of miles. Yeah, that's a lot of miles for a Mercedes. That's a lot of miles for a Cadillac, but that is not a lot of miles for one of the best cars ever made from Toyota and one of the best engines ever made from Toyota. It's comparable to a Mercedes with like 60,000 miles on it. He has it listed for $5,900. C300, which means $5,000 after negotiation. The paint looks in decent condition, even though the pics are far away, so that kind of concerns me. He says it runs perfectly. Timing belt was replaced at 80,000 miles, which really does not mean a whole lot because the car is 150,000 miles and a timing belt should be changed right about now. So this description is actually pointing out a way to haggle down the price. I think it's like a dark blue color. It looks really good in the sun. You can see that shine on it and just the blue coming out of it. I love the wheels, and the interior looks really good for its age and mileage. I just think these cars not only hold their value, but also hold their condition really well. I mean, 150,000 miles and that seat has no cracks. That's insane. I'm not sure if this one has a fridge in it, but other than not having a fridge, it looks like a pretty nice car. Now for the last spot here, we've got a car that not only can be your daily driver, but also can tow your race car to the track. This means you can finally accomplish your dream and go all out on your race car and go so far to make this thing not even straight legal because you don't need to drive it anymore. You've got the second gen Cadillac Escalade, made from 2002 to 2006. These things are reliable, comfy, and have a lot of room and come with either two engines, either a 5.3 or a 6.0, and both of them make a lot of horsepower. The 5.3 liter V8 came with 285 horsepower from 2002 to 2003, and then in 2004 to 2005 it came with 295 horsepower, and the torque range from 315 to 335 pound-feet of torque. Already great numbers for an SUV, and it could tow 7,400 pounds. If your race car in a trailer weighs over 7,400 pounds, you got to pick a new race car because that thing is too heavy. Unless you're taking up most of that weight, and in that case, maybe you need to get on a diet.
Mr. White, what would be the first meal that you would feed me?
Salad.
A salad.
That's what you need, baby girl.
What is it?
Lettuce with croutons, from wherever that shit is.
The one that will be a little bit harder to find for around 5,000 is the 6.0 liter, and this came with all-wheel drive. These bad boys made 345 horsepower with 380 pound-feet of torque, no matter what year you got, and it could tow 8,100 pounds. And the best part about these cars is they don't have a negative stereotype. Unlike the Suburbans or Tahoes from these years, some hoodlums can have those cars, but the only people I see driving these second gen Escalades are either elderly people or drug dealers that aren't moving a lot of product. Unlike me on Schedule 1, I'm holding it down. And on another note, my buddy had like a 2010 Suburban, same engine as these cars, and that thing would not stop no matter how little maintenance he did. For like 3 years, he never did an oil change. All he did was when the oil got low, he just poured more in. Never changed a filter, never did a full oil change. After that, okay, he started having little issues. He started having a little ticking. He just put more oil in there. Problem was fixed. I'm not saying do this with yours, but I'm just saying these things are super reliable. Then for the next 2 years, that thing would stutter, but he still drove it and it never let him down. I needed to get a tune for my A86, and we not only had to drive, but we also had to tow the A86, which is like 2,000 pounds for the car and 2,000 pounds for the U-Haul trailer. And we had to drive 2.5 hours, and his car would literally almost stall at every stoplight, but somehow it still made it there and back with no major issues other than it kind of jerking back and forth. These things cannot be stopped, and they're great cars. And you're probably thinking, oh, maybe this thing's got like 150,000 miles and is doing this. That thing had 375,000 miles on it, and it was still running when he got rid of it. The only downside about these cars is the interior is still crappy GM. The interior is going to be made out of some questionable plastics, and they're going to break a lot. His dash was like completely destroyed. There was a big hole, like a crater fell through it on the dash. The headliner was falling down. The vents on the ceiling were all busted. The seat backs were all destroyed, but like I said, you cannot kill the motor on these cars. Here is one for sale. This is a 2002 Cadillac Escalade, $4,900. The description isn't thorough, but at least tells you that the car runs good and sounds great. It is a dealership, unfortunately, but this is one of the first ones that popped up, and it looked decent to me. It has 150,000 miles, which is nothing for these motors, and it overall looks pretty decent. It doesn't show the engine, so I'm not sure if it comes with the 5.3 or the 6.0, but either one, like I said, they're great motors. The interior looks clean. The exterior looks clean except for some dents. And I just think, you know, hey, for $4,900, this is a deal if the engine runs and sounds great. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I put a lot of work into researching all this, make sure that these cars are reliable for you and great cars just to have in general. I gave you the pros and cons, man. I just did everything in this video, and hopefully I made it a little bit entertaining with my little crappy jokes. So if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe down below, and leave a comment what car I missed so that I can make another one and I don't have to do research for more cars. Help me do my job. So I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.